Earlier on, the NPA has been denied leave to appeal the acquittal of televangelist Timothy Omotoso and his co-accused. Judgment in the National Prosecuting Authority's latest attempt to appeal the acquittal was handed down earlier this morning in the Gqeberha High Court. The state has argued that Judge Irma Schoeman failed to consider all the charges and evidence, including racketeering and trafficking. During her April ruling, Home Affairs declared Omotoso an undesirable person, and he has since been sent back to Nigeria. Let's unpack this and its implication now with steering group member of the Faith Action Collective to End Gender-Based Violence, Reverend Dr. Bukelwa Hans. Rev, good to have you, and thank you very much for coming on the Newsfeed PM this afternoon. From the point of the clergy, but also from a legal standpoint, what is the implication of this particular ruling, especially in the context of how the NPA would have conducted this matter?
Good afternoon, Thabo, and good afternoon to your viewers. This is a devastating judgment that has been passed today. For the victims or survivors of gender-based violence, and for us as a country, especially after the president has just declared gender-based violence as a disaster. The secondly is that the NPA, though it's trying to cover up its weaknesses, but I think what is important for all of us, the clergy, the religious community, and the whole of South Africa, is for us to get those reasons where the judges say that they could not prove beyond a reasonable doubt. Because there were many survivors that have gone through that re-traumatization in the courts. You can't tell me that the judge is saying that all of those people did not prove beyond the reasonable doubt. So we are not a legal people, but would like to know, so that as a church, if we can be able to assist the police, the prosecution, and so on. But transparency is important. So the reasons for the judge to deny this appeal, I think, are very important for us to see.
Yeah, for the benefit of the victims as well, I mean, there is still a door that has been opened to the NPA to petition the Supreme Court of Appeal. Should they take that particular window, one, but two, how should they approach that particular window so that they are not finding themselves in a very same position that they are today?
I think it's important for these 63 people and all of us that the NPA should take this further, because I think it's important for us to understand the case laws. We don't understand case laws. We're not legally trained. So it's important that we understand what reasons did the judge have to say this the case could not be proved beyond reasonable doubt. And that will bring hope and bring healing to all those 63 people and all of us that are spiritually abused by people like Omotoso. So I think the NPA is right in taking this matter further, because we need to all read what the judge, on what basis did the judge make the decision. Because there were so many people that came in to testify against Omotoso. You can't tell me, Thabo, that all those people, they were all lying, and all those people, there was nothing that they came up with, because we listened right through this case. So I think the NPA is correct. They must take this matter up to the SCA.
Now, on the other side, of course, as you mentioned, those who are manipulating the situation, taking advantage of a spiritual hunger of people of this nation. How then should this matter be addressed? Now, I'm talking in the backdrop of charismatic movements who are pushing back against a regulatory framework that has been suggested by the CRL.
I think it's important that this case has not cleared the Omotoso of the moral whatever he was involved in. I don't think it has cleared him, but we will see from once the judge releases those reasons. But two, I think it's important because people go into churches with a level of trust, with a level of hope, with a level of going to church so that you can get healing. Because all of us in South Africa have been traumatized right through since 1948, whether you are on the other side, but we've all gone through trauma. So we all need healing. And therefore, this case having been taken forward, I think it's important. Secondly, I think it's important for the regulatory system to involve all of us, because if you look at the CRL, how they are planning to have this committee. This committee, for example, that the CRL has set up is all males. It's in Zulu. It's all males. And therefore, how do you then move forward to regulate when we have the people that actually are suffering most not being part of that? So I think what we need to do as NGOs, we need to meet together after this case, decide how to respond to the CRL's proposition and its committee. And I think that will be very important, because if we're all spiders coming together, we can kill a lion. So I think it's important for us to do that.
I think for somebody listening to that kind of response would say, Rev, then how do you draw that balance? How do you draw that balance between faith, between power, also between, of course, gender-based violence activism, and be able to then strike a balance where the principle of freedom of religion is satisfied, but also there is enough protection for congregants?
You know, a church, Thabo, is supposed to be a safe space. You go into church, you're supposed to be in a safe space. And in a safe space, you are able to voice out how you feel when you feel it. And once there is somebody, for example, in a church, you're supposed to have boundaries to say you cannot go beyond this boundary. And so if people that are going to any church are able to report, because these churches are patronizing the members of the community, such that people get scared to come and report that this is happening in my church. And this is why we say the NPA must go forward so that this can tally with what the CRL is trying to do, so that we do not overburden churches that are doing the right thing, but we're able to catch them, because people are suffering in a safe space, in a space where God is supposed to be sovereign, where we are supposed to be healing people. So I think it's important that when this case, whilst the CRL process is going on and NPA is going on, we will be able to find a common space where even those that are opposed to regulation, they can be able to find a space to say, this is it, this is how we can regulate. Because I think their problem is not the regulation as such, but the how part is what is important.
Yeah. That response, I mean, and the consistent push to say the NPA must pursue this a little bit further, particularly on the clarity side. Does that underscore, I suppose, your belief and understanding that the current laws in the country adequately cover both in terms of criminal as well as civil law, this particular matter enough to be able to protect congregants?
I think the law is okay. The only challenge is how the law is implemented. This is why if the judge can be able to put the reasons and we're able to see it, we can be able to say this case law or whatever it's called was not followed properly. This case law was not properly. We know the NPA has got its own weaknesses. Hence, you can see in the media what is taking place. But I think the laws of the country are very positive towards the issues of gender-based violence, but it's the implementation, the investigation, and also the judgment. We don't want to say that judges are captured, but I think we need to say we, from the police, to the NPA, to the judges, this is all clear, and everybody's happy to do that. But also for us who are churchgoers, who are pew members, we are in a safe space, because people are not in a safe space. These are the few that have come up. How many have not come forward to actually report being abused by us as the church.
Rev, appreciate your time. Thanks so much for coming on. Steering group member of the Faith Action Collective to End Gender-Based Violence, Reverend Dr. Bukelwa Hans there. All right.